For 3 days in early May, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway is home to a combination of men, women, and machine that typically comprises auto racing. However, one would never guess that under the veneer of racing, a collegiate engineering competition actually takes place. The 4th annual Formula Hybrid competition, organized and hosted by Dartmouth College's Thayer School of Engineering, has grown from 6 teams and 60 students in 2007 to 30 teams and 400 students spanning 5 countries.
The event's grown. The quality of the vehicles is going up exponentially. We're seeing much faster times and I think a lot more thought about how to optimize the performance and win the event. That's exciting.
Formula Hybrid, a member of the Society of Automotive Engineers, or SAE, College Design Series, and endorsed by the IEEE, is actually a stepchild of the 20-year-old Formula SAE program.
The Dartmouth team built a hybrid car in the hopes of entering it in a Formula SAE competition. The hybrid configuration would have given them an advantage due to the inlet restrictor on an IC engine. The SAE changed the rules issued a new set of rules right about that time, prohibited hybrids, invited the Dartmouth team to come up and demonstrate their car anyway. And then at that point, we just decided we'd start our own competition.
Unlike a typical auto race, where the winner is defined by crossing the finish line first, this competition chooses a winner by how a team builds a Formula Hybrid car and masters a criteria based on dynamic and static events. The victor here must finish first in drivetrain innovation and fuel efficiency. The static events take each team off the track, where they're judged along presentation and design. In the presentation phase, team members trade their crew shirts and jeans for shirts and ties to defend the business case of their cars for development. The teams show how they would market their car to a consumer, how much it would cost to manufacture it, and the environmental viability of the materials used. They make their pitch in front of judges who represent a spectrum of professions that sometimes fall outside of engineering.
Well, strictly it doesn't have anything to do with technology, but when you get out in the real world, all the technology can be great, but if you can't sell it, if you can't market it, it's useless. And that's what we're trying to teach the teams here. They have to know how to sell their product. They have to know what the market's interested in, what their customers are interested in, how they price it, how they can manufacture it, and how they can make money at it.
In the design phase, the support tool of choice are easels, as each team goes before one of 4 design teams who evaluate the students' work, inquire as to why was something built a certain way, and ask the students why they made the engineering decisions that they did. The 4 finalists are then examined by all 4 design teams.
They're here to learn, they understand that, they put a huge amount of time and effort into it, but they're passionate about what they've done, their designs, but they also seem very interested in hearing what the judges have to say and our recommendations. They all receive that very, very positively.
Another keenly evaluated point of the design phase is the degree of synergy achieved by the members of the teams themselves. Formula Hybrid is meant to bring the mechanical and electrical engineering communities together.
After all the official judging is over, we do have the opportunity to become mentors, and we can talk with the different students and try to help students that might have areas that they really need to progress in, and try to help them stage, okay, do this the next year, do this 2 years from now, try to give them goals where they can actually obtain it, because academics is always number one.
So when I looked at the cars, I look for the quality of design, I look for the quality of construction, I look for the quality of the suspension geometry, although I'm not doing measurements, they at least have to look right. I look for suspension adjustability, right? Very important to be able to tune a car. I look for a race car with all of the normal features of a race car. I'm looking for inventive solutions.
The multidisciplinary approach has begun to reach out from engineering altogether. Teams are faced with the prospect of having to put together marketing presentations and produce visuals. Stacked with engineering majors, the teams are extending themselves to the marketing and business majors on their respective campuses.
Right now we do have one business major that's on the team. We're trying to get the business majors involved because they're the ones who can really help us learn how to market the car. And as I said, we're basically engineering students. We know the technical side, but we're trying to learn how to market it as more product and its features instead of the technical aspect.
Well, we had, this year we brought a couple students from our sales engineering club, and they put it together much more with a business wrinkle, looking for investors. The design report aspect of it is a technical side of it. The presentation was a presentation to investors, and it worked out fantastic. The sales engineering guys trained up. It allowed the technical team members to train up the sales force.
The dynamic events move the competition back to the track. Before any car touches the high-banked asphalt, they undergo a rigorous spate of inspections where safety-oriented regulations are enforced.
2, 1, go! 3.5. 3.6. All right.
And any time, even as when we are competitors ourselves, going through a technical inspection is always a little stressful, even though you know the car, in our case, is a fairly stock car when we autocross it. But going through and having somebody else look at the car who has the power to say, you need to change this or fix that, always adds a little bit of stress. So these young people, it's the first time they have had their car inspected by somebody other than the team. And normally there are things that they need to fix on it, so that raises the stress level, yes.
This is about education. So when we find something that isn't quite right, then our aim is to explain to them the reason for the rule and to explain why it doesn't meet it. And once they understand, then it's just, as I say, it's education. They are learning how to be good engineers.
With each car carrying lethal voltages, teams of electrical inspectors travel to each bay to make sure each car's electrical system is safe. Running in the rain presents a further risk. To ensure proper grounding if the weather threatens, the cars go through another battery of inspections to get them rain rated.
Something that we have to make sure of first is that all the vehicles are safe, and we have a very comprehensive set of standards that they have to meet. A lot of them have trouble understanding all the nuances of that, and so the inspection process is often pretty detailed and an educational event in itself.
Brake and fuel systems are also tested. Each car is tilt tested, where cars are placed on a 45-degree angle to check for fluid leaks and tilted to 60 degrees to test for tire stability. All the inspections and the team's hard work are put to the test once the cars get on the track. Although the static events weigh heavily, titles are won and lost here on the track as well. Entrants compete against the clock in the speed-oriented acceleration and autocross and lock horns with the fuel gauge in the endurance event. Texas A&M came into the event as the defending champions. Challengers abounded. They would range from Drexel University and California Polytechnic to newcomers University of California, Davis. Internationally, besides perennial contender and past winner McGill University of Canada, the leading entrants were Italy's Politecnico di Torino. They are products of a developed formula program and a symbol for the growing internationality of the event.
Progressively, we have increased the relevance, the importance of this formula, establishing good rules which are coordinated with the same rule used in here. For the Formula Hybrid. We try to harmonize all the rules in order to enable the different teams to attend at different formulas.
A very sharp and game Texas A&M team would yield to Polytechnico. Like any competition, 30 teams came to compete and win. For many teams, they were pleased with the results.
It feels really amazing considering it's our first time at competition, and considering the competition this year, the first and second place teams, in my opinion, we couldn't have beat this year. I mean, they were just amazing. So in my mind, we did as great as possible, and being first year is just all that much better. I'm really happy.
Next year, we are going to hopefully adapt to the hybrid program. We're hybrid in progress this year. Next year, we're still not even sure about the drivetrain. We actually have a parallel system set up for the car. We had it in the car, we just didn't have the gas motor running. So next year, I don't know, we saw some ideas this year, so we might abandon some of the ones that we were going with, maybe drop 2 electric motors in it. It seems to be a popular theory with the guy standing behind me because we really like the motor we got going.
As a teaching tool, there is no better event than the Formula Hybrid competition. With every team looking to improve, the competition meets a primary goal of making everyone a better engineer, a better marketer, a better designer, and in the end, an intrepid young engineer whose passion builds the cars of tomorrow.
It's one of the only times that you get to get a bunch of guys together, build a race car, drive it to its limits on not your money. That's basically it. I mean, you go to school, you study engineering, you go to classes, and you never really get to apply any of those things up until a project like this, where you get to meet a bunch of people that all have the same passion as you and come to a track and just for 3-4 days talk about what you did different than another team, compare yourself to them, drive it on the track. So it's a lot of fun.
The collegiate ranks of Formula Hybrid look bright as the caliber and scope of the competitions continue to grow around the world.